she's running on a campaign of demoralization and really a campaign of destruction. But really, perhaps more than anything else, it's a campaign of hate. It's a campaign of absolute hate. After 2 assassination attempts in just over 3 months, her lies and her slanders are very shameful and really inexcusable.
That was former President Trump slamming Vice President Harris for her latest rhetoric on the campaign trail. All of this as Harris prepares to deliver her closing argument, but not in a swing state. Our panel's standing by to debate her strategy. But first, let's get right to Peter Doocy. He's live on the ground at the White House for us. Peter, why is Harris staying in Washington for this big speech tonight?
Because, Sandra, they want her background to look familiar.
I think the backdrop of the White House being at the Ellipse today, the last time a lot of the American people saw that was on January 6th. There is so much more we can do together, so much more hopeful future we can have.
Despite warnings from a Harris-affiliated super PAC through a New York Times report that dissing Trump isn't moving the needle as much as more positive messages about things like Medicare expansion, the Trump talk will be paramount.
Just imagine the Oval Office in 3 months, okay? So just picture it in your head. So either it's Donald Trump sitting in there, stewing over his enemies list, or me, with your help, working for you, checking off my to-do list.
The vice president continues calling upon celebrities like Bruce Springsteen and former presidents like Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, but not the current president, Joe Biden, which he claims is suddenly about to change.
Well, I've done a lot of sort of stuff. I've been on the trail. We talk all the time, and they're asking me to where they think I should be to help them most.
But even though the vice president's campaign event tonight is going to be right next to the White House, and according to President Biden's schedule, he will be inside the White House on a virtual campaign call, he is not expected to go out the South Lawn exit to join her. Sandra.
Okay, well, I'll be watching for that. Peter Doocy, thank you. John.
Well, that would be a long walk through the South Lawn and then across the driveway and then over the fence and then to the Ellipse. All right, let's bring in our panel. Richard Fowler, Fox News contributor, and Alex Vogel, former general counsel for the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Wanted to first of all go over one of the interesting new findings of our latest Fox News power rankings, the last before the election, and that is that Arizona, according to our forecast, now goes from toss-up to lean Republican. Richard, that could potentially take the number of true battlegrounds down to 6.
It could, and let's be very clear. I think this election is very, 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 very close. I think you hear that from the Trump campaign. I think you also hear that from the Harris campaign. They're both saying this is close, and we're doing everything that we can. When you talk to the Harris campaign, they tell you they're working on 3 things. They're working on getting to their coalition and mobilizing their coalition, right? And we've seen over the past couple of weeks, she's made gains with African-American men. She made gains with black women. And they're also working on getting those undecided voters, which is why I think tonight the backdrop they're utilizing is the White House. This country is 248 years old. 4 years ago was the first time we put a woman in national office. It's important for the American people to see what the potential of a woman leading the country could be, and I think that's what they're trying to prove tonight.
So, Alex, so the backdrop is one thing, but Jenna Malley-Dillon articulated it. Oh, you know, the last time that somebody was there was January 6th. So that's probably going to come up, as well as all the other dark things that she's been talking about Trump.
And I think it's a huge tactical and strategic mistake on her campaign's behalf. First of all, the election is not going to be decided in Washington, D.C. We know the battlegrounds, obviously. Her biggest challenge, the reason that she is where she is in the polls, is this has been fundamentally centered around a disqualification argument. And while all candidates need to define their opponents, she has clearly reached that point and gone beyond it, and it hasn't gotten there. And she talked about the to-do list. The problem politically and in reality is everyone knows what Donald Trump's to-do list is. They're like immigration, the economy. If you said that to Americans about Vice President Harris, what is on the to-do list, the answer is a whole bunch of negative stuff about him and why he shouldn't be. No one knows what that is. And if the answer is it's going to get delivered tonight in front of the White House, which I think is kind of awkward anyway, the larger question is, is a little late.
Yeah. So to Alex's point, Future Forward USA Action, which is a big Democratic PAC, said, you know, enough about calling Trump a fascist, enough about focusing on his character flaws. What you really need to focus on these closing days of the election is the policy differences. Here's what they said in an email. Purely negative attacks on Trump's character are less effective than contrast messages that include positive details about Kamala Harris's plans to address the needs of everyday Americans. Focusing on Trump's disturbing, ludicrous, and outlandish behavior can be an effective lead-in to talking about substantive policy, but is not effective at moving vote choice on its own. I remember covering the Gore campaign in 2000, and the one thing that they really hammered on in the last 2 weeks of the campaign, ultimately not successful to him, was compare and contrast with George Bush. It wasn't calling him names.
Look, I think me and Alex are watching different movies here, because when you look at the movie that I'm watching, I think the movie a lot of undecided voters are watching, they're seeing a movie in which, on both sides, we were just talking about this last week, we were having a conversation of who used the word fascist better last week, right? Donald Trump has now called Kamala Harris a fascist. She's now called him a fascist. I think beyond the name calling, what you actually have is, on one side, you have a to-do list that is not just things that the American people don't like, but it's actually the largest child tax credit. It's making sure that small businesses have what they need. It's legalizing marijuana. It's a lot of things that the American people seem to be very popular. It's also protecting women's reproductive health. On the other side, you heard Alex say it, you have buzzwords. We're going to fix the economy. We're going to fix immigration. But you don't have a clear policy, a clear road on how the former president, is going to do that. He just tells you to remember how he started.
He does have his record, though.
Yeah, just remember how he started, but not what he's going to do tomorrow.
And his record, when he had the problem in 2019, he took actions that really
Sure.
cut down on illegal.
I don't disagree with any of that, John. But what the former president's articulated over the 700-day campaign that he's ran is think about yesterday. Don't think about tomorrow. What the Harris campaign is trying to articulate in a very clear way tonight is think about tomorrow and what's left, what could be America's future. And there's a clear distinction.
You could also frame it, you know, my track record, think of what I can do if I
Which
get
is
in
why I
4
think he
years.
starts in a fundamentally different place than the American people. Instead of, she could do that. Look, she could talk about the last 4 years. She doesn't want to because the numbers aren't there. And maybe
he's look at my last 4 years. She's ignore my last 4 years.
Maybe the most damning thing was her comment about I wouldn't change anything from
Alex, to be fair to both candidates, if you look at Trump's last 4 years, here's what you'll find. His former vice president has acknowledged he won't be voting for him.
But that's,
wait a minute.
That's about the politics
allow me to finish.
of the election, not about the politics of
Allow me to finish.
I will.
The person he's elected to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff comes out and says, I don't trust this guy behind the resolute desk. On the other side, what the Harris campaign has been talking about is what we've done over the past 4 years, we've capped the cost of insulin for seniors. What we've done over the past 5 years, yes, we started and there was some bumpiness with inflation because of COVID, but we're now seeing inflation go down. We're seeing mortgage interest rates go down. And what we're going to do now is we're going to work on building more housing. The president hasn't talked about housing. His solution to housing is we're going to have a tariff, and a tariff is going to fix child care, a tariff is going to fix public schools, a tariff is going to fix everything. That's what the former president said over and over again, and he hasn't articulated a clear policy besides think about yesterday. And that's problematic for a lot of voters.
But again, he's running on his record. She's running away from hers. That's the big
I just
difference.
listed her.
And
So
similarly,
final
I would
word to
argue
you, Alex.
you're a much more compelling advocate for those positions than
best.
she is. And the reality is you have to look at the campaign and what message it is driving and what people are hearing. And what they are hearing and getting is why not him and attack. They are not getting, here's my to-do list, 1, 2, 3 that are big things that people
Guys,
care about.
We got to wrap this, but we'll see what Kamala says tonight. We're just kind of speculating at this point, but I think we got a pretty good idea.
I think we do.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.